For weeks now, we've been talking on this show about how climate change coupled with El Nino is wreaking havoc across the globe. From record-breaking heat waves and out-of-control wildfires to torrential rains and devastating floods, no part of the world seems to be unaffected. China too is facing the brunt of extreme weather events. For days now, the country has been battered by extremely heavy downpours, especially its capital Beijing and surrounding areas, as the remnants of Typhoon Doksuri slowly turned over the region, causing the worst flooding Beijing has seen in more than a decade. 2 bodies were recovered from waterways in a western Beijing suburb on Monday. These are the first casualties that have been blamed on the rainfall, as videos on social media showed cars being washed away and buses half submerged by muddy torrents. Roads turned into rivers. A massive sinkhole opened outside a newly built shopping mall in the western part of Beijing amid the downpour. Doksuri was one of the strongest storms to hit China in years and caused widespread flooding over the weekend in the southern province of Fujian, driving hundreds of thousands of people from their homes. China's Met Department has issued a red alert for heavy rainfall across the capital region. This is only the second time the highest alert has been raised since the color-coded warning system was introduced in 2010. The alert impacts tens of millions of residents. That's at least 22 million people in Beijing and 14 million in Tianjin. Now, across Beijing, an average of 7 inches of rain fell between Saturday night and Monday afternoon. For context, this is the amount of rainfall for the entire month of July, according to official records. And according to the state media, a deluge of 23 inches had fallen in one part of the capital. Locals say the scenes reminded them of a similar flooding disaster back in July 2012 that left almost 80 people dead. As a precaution, residents have been asked to stay indoors. Officers have been asked not to force their employees to come to work, whilst public spaces and recreational centres remain closed. About 31,000 people were evacuated from areas considered high risk in Beijing, and residents elsewhere have been urged to either work or study from home. Tourist attractions including the Forbidden City, the Great Wall and the Universal Theme Park remain closed, and dozens of flights have been cancelled out of Beijing's 2 main airports. Authorities say such torrential rains can flatten crops and flood low-lying farm fields. 3 of the 5 rivers that make up the High River Basin rose to dangerous levels on Monday. Some houses were washed into the Yongding River, and nearly 55,000 people were evacuated from their homes in Baoding City. Both airports and the capital cancelled more than 200 flights on Monday. Hundreds of roads in Beijing have been flooded. Subway stations are filled with water. According to the Chinese state media, 11 people have died and 27 are missing amid flooding in the mountains surrounding Beijing. In northern Hebei province, a driver went missing after 2 trucks fell off a collapsed bridge, while a railway bridge for freight was washed away in a swollen river. This level of rainfall is highly unusual for Beijing, which generally enjoys a moderate and dry climate. Flooding in other parts of northern China that rarely see such large amounts of rain have led to scores of deaths. In early July, at least 15 people were killed by floods in the southwestern region of Chongqing. In the central province of Hubei, rainstorms have trapped residents in their vehicles and homes. China's deadliest and most destructive floods in recent history were in 1998, when almost 4,200 people died, most of them along the Yangtze River. Even as the rainfall was forecast to start weakening across the region, the trouble is another typhoon is already on its way. East China's Zhejiang province has already launched emergency response operations as Typhoon Khanna approaches. The powerful storm is expected to move across Japan's southwest regions of Okinawa and Amami and head for China in the coming days. Massive flooding wreaking havoc across Beijing and the surrounding areas. Time for us to take a quick break here on Global Lens, but don't go anywhere. We have lots more for you on the other side, including the latest on the Russia-Ukraine war.
मैं इमरान अहमद खान नियाजी सबके दिल से हल्फ उठाता हूँ.
When Imran Khan came initially into politics, he thought his personal popularity would be sufficient for him. It didn't happen.